Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Metzler Mobility session. Here today we have my wife, Jeannie. Millie is here too. And this is our little workout that should take somewhere between 15 and 20 minutes. But I'm going to walk everyone through what's going on here. The goal of the session is to mobilize thoracic spine, hips, and lumbar to have you feeling good, feeling mobile. So we're just going to get right into it. So the two things that you're going to need for this is a foam roller and a band just like that. The band's not 100% necessary. Jeannie will show you a variation at the end if you don't have access to a band. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to foam roll. Now, most people will over foam roll a little bit in our opinion. So the focal areas for us are going to be your back, which Jeannie's going to demonstrate here, the glutes, and the calves. So you're going to spend roughly, how long would you say per back, calves, and glutes, Jeannie?
Probably like 20 seconds, honestly.
Yeah, so about 20 seconds on the back.
But you want to like move up your T-spine. Get it nice all the way up. Take some good breaths. Yeah, and if your lat's also feeling tight, you can also do just like a side to side. Not very long at all though.
Yeah, we'll call that lat flossing. So just a bit of flossing in the lat.
Just maybe like 5.
So maybe transition to a bit of lat flossing there.
Yeah.
Yep, and then maybe transition over to the glutes.
Yeah, just sit on the foam roller. Just kind of get the sides.
Yeah, kind of focusing on the glute medius here. Sometimes the glute medius can get real tight. Piriformis can get a bit tight. So yeah, you can spend some time just kind of working through anything that might be a little bit sticky in there.
Yeah, nothing should feel like sharp pain. It can feel sticky, but if it's like sharp, like, yeah, it's just probably not going over the muscle properly, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, how you feel foam rolling is also an indication of hydration, so you want to kind of pay attention to that too.
Yeah, that's a great point. If you're feeling super dehydrated, then maybe, if you're feeling super sore in the muscles, then focus on hydration.
Mm-hmm.
So now let's spend a couple seconds here just hitting the calves. You see how Jeannie's got one foot over the other, just adding a little bit of pressure. Not mandatory to do that, but that does kind of, if it's not enough pressure, by just kind of, rolling over. And notice how Jeannie is going back and forth, but also side to side. That's something that is worth doing as well with the foam rolling.
You can also apply more pressure by like lifting up and like, just kind of putting more pressure on there. If it's too much, you can just like release the pressure in your hand. So using body weight to just kind of see how much pressure you want on the actual tissue.
Perfect. So I feel like by now that's probably enough foam rolling. That's about 2 minutes of foam rolling. So now we're going to get into the actual proper mobility phase of this. So the first thing that we're going to do is some alternating knee grabs. So Jeannie's going to lie on her back, or you're going to lie on your back, and you're going to do 5 knee grabs each way, just how Jeannie's doing here. You can hold a little bit longer there, just kind of grab that deep stretch. Yeah, 5 each leg. Perfect. So that's alternating knee grabs. That's number 2. We've got 11 stages here, but you see they're quite quick. You don't need to do an abundance of these. We're going to roll through them. So next one's going to be 90-90s. So you're going to be lying on your back or just up like that, Jeannie is, in like a prone position. And we're just kind of working that internal hip capsule with these 90-90s. You might be a bit stiff and it might not be as easy to get all the way to the floor with your knees, but Jeannie demonstrates sort of like a shorter range, maybe not getting your knees all the way down. Yeah, just like that's fine as well. We're going to do this maybe about 10 each side.
And then an option is also to lay flat and just kind of like roll through.
Yeah. That's also kind of like a preview on the getting the thoracic spine involved as well. So that's quite good. Very nice. So that's alternating knee grabs. That's 90-90s. Now we're going to go into low leg sweeps. So demonstrate these ones. And now we're really starting to hit the lumbar. Again, we're going to go 10 each side on these low leg sweeps. Great. And now we're going to go with open book. So this is very much a thoracic spine movement here. We're going to go 5 to 10 each side. Why don't you demonstrate 10? And same thing here. You don't have to get all the way to the ground. Go for 10 on the other side. You don't have to get all the way to the ground with that hand that's opening, but you kind of want to get as close to the ground as possible. It'll sort of depend on how tight you are through that upper spine.
I'm pretty tight.
And if you are pretty tight and you're not reaching that ground, you can take one deep breath and exhale as you reach back. That might allow you to get like a little bit more extension. Cool. All right, next one's going to be a lumbar pump. So Jeannie's going to get onto her stomach here. And this one's just for that low lumbar. So she's going to press up like she's doing a push-up. Yep, just like that. We're going to get a nice big opening of the front body. You're going to feel a little bit of a compression in that low back, but it's really opening things up. You can put a little bit more pressure and move to one side. And that's going to give you just a little bit more intensity on one side versus another. So we're going to go 10 of these. No, guard dog. All right, keep going, Jeannie. All right, now while Jeannie's face down there, she's going to do the prone scorpion. So she's going to demonstrate the prone scorpion this way. So I'll pull back a little bit. Yep, just like that. Perfect. And then the other side. So this is really combining everything. This is lumbar, this is low back, this is thoracic spine, and this is starting to get the hips involved a little bit. So we're going to go for 10 each side on the prone scorpion.
And it's the same arm that's up as the leg that goes over.
Yeah, I'm going to come over this side to show you how it looks from this way. Perfect. So that's, you can do 5 or 10 prone scorpions per side there. Now we're going to get into dynamic frog. This is really where we're starting to hit the hips. So face me. Perfect. Yeah, so you're going to kind of get into this position on the floor. Yep. And then you're going to sit back into that position and flick one leg forward. So you scooch back, flick the other leg. Scooch back, flick the other leg. You're really kind of working that internal hip capsule. I'm going to come and show you from the rear view. Great. Yeah, we're going to go 5 to 10 each side on the dynamic frog as well. All right, and then while you're in that position, you kind of sit up in that kind of on the knees position, and we're going to do some hip dips. So you're sort of trying to make a circle with your hips as you dip down. Yeah, you can get even a bit wider with the stance. Yeah, perfect. You're going to dip in like that, kind of work 4 corners of a square in this. Think of it that way. And we're going to go 5 full squares each direction. So 5 squares to the left, and then we're going to switch directions and go 5 squares to the right.
You can be a bit more dynamic with this. Don't feel like you have to look a certain way. It's just like trying to make circles with your hips.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Perfect. And then the final one is the banded leg swings here before we get into our little hip series.
Okay.
And as you can tell, we're sort of picking up an intensity here. So this is something to do if you're feeling tight after work, pre-run. So you grab a band like this, and we're just going to go swing over one direction with the band, transition with the hand, and go this way. So you're only doing one leg at a time with this, but you're going one each direction. We're going to go 5 each side. Again, this is a very compound movement. We got a lot of stuff going on in this one, but it's a really great opener and activator. So this one's called banded leg swings. Great. And then Jeannie's going to demonstrate if you don't have a band, you can do this standing by just doing some leg swings. So you would just go about 5 to 10 forward. You can just kind of open up that hip that way. And then you can also face the wall and do it kind of cross-bodied. This is also an ad as well. If you want to add that in addition to the banded leg swings, it's not a bad thing to do. Just get some good mobility going in there. Again, don't force anything, all easy, smooth movement. Okay, that's great. Now we're gonna get into the final piece here, which is a hip series. So this is really good to do last. At this point, you should be feeling like, okay, things are switched on, you're starting to get a bit activated, you're starting to get a bit mobile. So we're gonna get into a hip pulsing series. So the first thing, you're gonna get into this figure 4 type position here with hands on hips, and we're gonna pulse at the hip, kind of driving your front knee forward and your opposite knee back. So you can see here how Jeannie's pulsing into it. She's getting that ankle dorsiflexion. She's getting that hip flexor moving. She's gonna go for 10 pulses on the right. Then she's going to flip and go 10 pulses on the left, same thing. Keep this nice and square. We want this first one to be linear, so about legs hip width apart. You want that knee driving straight forward with knee over ankle, nice and straight. Perfect. Now that she's going to flip back to her first leg, and she's going to put hands in streamlined position and go for 10 pulses with hands in streamlined position. A lot of people don't recognize that your hips actually attach up by your diaphragm, so really high up in your stomach. And so when we get into this streamlined position, you're opening the frontal hip actually where they attach through the abdomen. So you can see here from the side, she's really getting that kind of like upper body involved as well. She can pulse back and kind of lean back a little bit as well, and kind of really open up that frontal side. You can be a bit dynamic with it as well. Okay, now we're gonna get the hip adductors involved. So she's gonna kind of angle her knee there just out slightly. She's not gonna go too far.
That's too far.
That's too far. So she's gonna get it right there. I think that's like 45 degrees. And then she's gonna grab a foam roller, or she can do it without a foam roller, and she's gonna pulse into it, but have the upper body rotate away. That's great. And we're gonna go for 10 each side. Great. Again, we're going to go on her left leg here.
Oh, am I doing it right?
Yeah, you got it.
My brain didn't make the switch.
You're turning away from that leg. Okay, now she's going to flip again. She's going to grab her foam roller. And this is where it's going to be the most dynamic thing that we've done today. She's going to do that initial sort of frontal pulse, but with the foam roller to give it a bit of extra weight and really sort of aggressively drive it backwards. She's driving that hip forwards and getting that foam roller over her shoulder there. Yeah, and she's getting nice hip extension. You make it flowy, you make it bouncy, you kind of get in and out of it, right? Perfect. So we again 10 each side all the way through. So that's the hip series pulsing 4 ways. Now we're going to finish up while we're sort of in this kneeling position with a static quad stretch. So we're going to get into a figure 4 position, and you're going to grab your rear leg here. You can grab it with 1, you can grab it with 2 if you have the ability to balance. If you're struggling with balance in this position, or if the quads are really tight, you can actually use the foam roller. as a sort of stability piece. So yeah, you can just put that on the ground and use your opposite hand to sort of balance on that foam roller. If you have one of the tall ones, it's even better, but that can help. If you're advanced and you're feeling pretty loose through the quads, you can actually pick up that left arm and really get a big stretch reaching to the ceiling. Yeah, like that. Perfect. You can grab it with both hands like Jeannie just was. If you don't have a carpet, you're going to want something on your knee there because it's going to get a bit sore. But you go for about 20-30 seconds holding in that position. You can sort of roll through, maybe start with adding a stability element. Then once you feel like you're in a stable position, you can grab with two hands. And then once you're getting that stretch, maybe you can reach to the ceiling with one hand. And again, we're going to do this for about 20 to 30 seconds. And that's it. That's Metz Mobility. Thank you, Jeannie, for being our star demonstrator. Try this out and see how you feel.